Hello and welcome to Interviews with Yvan. My name is Yvan Demosten. I'm the CEO of Hamilton Demo, and we're coming to you from downtown Cincinnati, Ron Hamilton Photo. And we're going to bring to you some interviews and conversations from people within diversity and inclusion and other business leaders and nonprofit leaders. And we're hoping that you'll welcome the conversations, welcome the interviews, and please follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and subscribe to us as well. Any and all feedback is appreciated. Thank you so much. Here with Ms. Kendra McKeever, CEO of Cloud Next Level. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm glad you're here. So wanted to chat with you and learn a little bit more about yourself and your company, the great things that you guys are doing there.
Yeah.
So please, let's start by hearing a little bit about you and your company.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity, Yvan. I'm super excited to be here. So just to rewind a little bit to kind of lay the groundwork for some of the things we're going to get into. I was a person who did not have any real clear path when I was younger as to where I was going to go with myself and my career. Nobody in my family had gone to college, so that was not like an obvious path for me. But after a few years of kind of bouncing around at minimum wage jobs, I thought there's got to be a better way. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had friends who had business degrees that were still waiting tables after they graduated. And I thought, well, that doesn't seem effective. So I thought, what is there going to be a need for going forward? And this was a while ago, but even back then, computers were starting to become a real thing for everybody. And I thought, okay, doctors and computers seem to be like a real thing. And I knew that I couldn't stand the sight of blood. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go into computers. So I enrolled at Miami University and ended up in their systems analysis program, which is essentially computer programming. And other than my dear friend Kate, we're still friends today, there was maybe one or two other girls I remember in that program. I mean, it was far and away.
Very male dominated.
Very male dominated. But, graduated, had a great experience there, was able to get an internship and then a job at Cintas in their IT department. During that time, I was blessed to have a mentor come into my life who then shifted my whole direction. And we can talk about that. But so I've been in technology, since the start of my career. And it has been a tremendous experience. I've spent most of my career on the business side of it. And I was exposed to Salesforce.com. And for those of you who don't know that software, it is a CRM, a customer relationship management software. It is the market leader by leaps and bounds in that space. So I was exposed to that as a salesperson, a user of it. And I thought, wow, I really dig this software. It really helps me do my job. And I ended up reading a book by the CEO, Mark Benioff, called Behind the Cloud. And it described his mission and vision and the impact he wanted to have in the world. And I was like, wow, this is really amazing. I want to do something more with Salesforce, but I don't know what that is. So I immersed myself in the Cincinnati community, and it just became apparent right out of the gate that there are not nearly enough people who understand the software to service all of the existing clients, let alone all the new ones they add every day.
Right.
So I thought, I'm kind of an entrepreneurial soul. Maybe I can do something about that. And so this was about 2 years ago now. I was inspired to found Cloud Next Level and build a team of experts in Salesforce to service clients. And so we are doing that today and loving every minute of it.
Fantastic. Great story. So learn a little bit more about you just now. That's great. So you mentioned your mentor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very interested to hear about how your mentor helped guide you.
And
you to focus.
It is amazing to me how we can have these experiences. And maybe it's a person who whispers something to us, or an event that happens that can completely change the course of our lives. And so like I said, I was very fortunate to have this woman who turns out she was brought in just for a very brief period into Cintas where we met. But she suggested to me, she knew that I was not super happy in the IT role that I had in that organization, she said, "Have you ever considered technology sales?" And I thought, I don't want to do anything related to sales. So no, that is absolutely not something I want to do. And she's like, "No, it's very different than what you're imagining. I really think that you should open your mind and consider it." So after a series of conversations, and she kind of described to me some different roles, within that sales realm of technology. And I thought, okay, all right, maybe there's more to this than I think. And I ended up applying to IBM. They had a program where they would teach people how to sell technology. So
Nice.
yeah, so I was accepted into that, and it was 6 months of intensive training. And they took us. We started off at the headquarters in Armonk, and then went down to Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. So off-site a lot, but really intense training. Like I said, for about 6 months, and that launched my sales career.
Wow. I mean, that's a good launch, right?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
it was.
And are you able to name drop at all who that mentor was?
Andrea Allen. Yes,
Oh,
if she's
wow.
out there, I love you, Andrea.
Yeah, I'm sure she's out there. So I think part of that too, you find a great mentor. She saw something in you, but you have to be open to new things as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think that's something we can all take.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I'm most passionate about. And Cloud Next Level gives me more of a platform for that, is helping people to open their mind, particularly young women who are maybe early in their career, or maybe not. Maybe they've had a career, and then they've taken some time off to raise a family, and then are coming back and not sure what they can do. Opening their minds, specifically, we focus on Salesforce.com, but just helping them to understand the limits that we put on ourselves. Oh, I haven't done that before, or I wasn't formally trained in that. Those things are really not barriers. If we're willing to just be willing to learn and put in a little bit of effort, specifically around Salesforce.com, the world is really your oyster. There are so many different career paths with that, and we love to train people. As long as they're willing to actually put in the work to learn it, there's so much opportunity.
Yes, and this reminds me, being open and what you just shared. I saw you go through this myself when you started the process to become a women-owned business, certified women-owned business. How's that helped you?
Yeah. Well, it's something that I'm very proud of. Women-owned businesses, there are not nearly enough of them at all, but particularly in the technology space.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very rare. So it's something that we take great pride in, and great responsibility in making sure we're living up to high standards to represent well. It also is a great recruiting tool for other women. In fact, most of our team is women, sometimes to my husband's dismay. He's my partner and our VP of operations. But no, he loves our entire team.
Jay McKeever, by the way.
Jay McKeever. Yes. So that's something that we get excited about, is in enabling other women. One of our key core team members, Laura Eaton, she's the co-leader of the Cincinnati Women in Tech group. So it's something that we're very passionate about, supporting other women in the technology space, and again, helping each other to explore what's my next step. Do I want to get another certification in this realm, or do I want to switch gears and go into this realm? Being able to help other women to again keep those barriers at bay that we sometimes wrap ourselves into.
Yeah. So what would you tell a young lady or a woman who's maybe just launched a business, or getting ready to launch a business, or maybe has even had a business for some time, and is apprehensive about becoming certified? What advice would you share with them?
Just do it. Absolutely. Just do it. Yeah. Yes.
It's
a process. Like anything, you've got paperwork, and there's a little bit of an investment that's involved, and these days I'm sure the process is a little bit different since everything is remote, but it's absolutely worth it, and it ties you into a whole. So we're certified by WeBank is the organization, which I think is pretty much the leader in that space. And there are just, thousands of women, that have their own businesses that are eager to help support each other. They have meetings and, local meetings and then national conferences.
Lots of networking.
Lots of networking, lots of resources available.
Yeah. So getting back into technology, share a little bit more about what opportunities currently are out there for women.
Yeah, it's a very long list.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if somebody is more technically inclined and maybe prefers to work alone, there are a million different development paths, or in the Salesforce world, administrative paths as well, where you can have that more sort of, individual, kind of contributor role in the technical space. But there are a lot of other more business focused, more client facing roles within the technology space as well. So again, back to the Salesforce world, there are business analyst paths that are available, project management paths that are available. Again, the sales path. I would still consider a technical sales role a technical job.
Yeah.
And also in the sales space, in my experience, I focus more on enterprise sales, but even in small business sales, there's usually an account executive who's going to be the person who's leading the sales process. And they're typically accompanied by a sales engineer, excuse me, is what they're typically called, who's more technical, that would actually do like the demo and answer more of the technical questions.
Nuts and bolts of things.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, again, still a sales role. So it's kind of a beautiful marriage of, having that technical side and also being client facing along with the account executive. So there are just a lot of different flavors, and depending on your personality, and you can move back and forth between them throughout your career.
Yeah. So diving a little bit more into that, if I were a young person or someone just off the street with no experience in technology, what would you recommend to be like the first start, whether it's sales or whatever? What would you recommend to them and how to get into technology?
Yeah, so there are, again, and I hate to keep saying this, but there are a lot of options out there, especially now. So many companies are opening up education for free. A lot of universities, or even Ivy League universities, are doing this for free now. But Salesforce, I'll go back to Salesforce specifically, you can log on right now to trailhead.com and for free start to educate yourself and learn all of the different
That's great. What is it again?
Trailhead.com. They're very focused on like hiking and mountain climbing stuff. I don't really know much about, but you go down these different paths and you can become a ranger and different levels of as you take more classes and get more badges and so forth.
That sounds like a great opportunity. It's something free that Salesforce offers. That you can become certified on there at your own pace.
Yeah, so you're able to really dig deep into various aspects of the technology, and yes, certification is absolutely something I would recommend. At Cloud Next Level, one of the things that we are working towards, and we've kind of started it, but we're still formalizing it, is an apprenticeship program. And I know that we're not the only ones out there doing this. So there are these types of opportunities where you can actually go to an organization and be paired with experts who can teach you, sort of on the job in conjunction with your book learning. You still have to do that. That's the work part of it. But you're able to then get real experience on real client projects and understand, what does this actually look and feel like on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, that's great. So tell me, if someone watching this wants to reach out to you, learn about this apprentice program, maybe, reach out to you about you consulting and working with them or learning more about Salesforce, how would they go about that?
Yeah, so my email is kendra@cloudnextlevel.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there.
We're LinkedIn.
We are LinkedIn, yes. So I'm pretty easy to find.
Fantastic. Make sure people can, make sure they can find, and we'll share some more information too.
Wonderful.
What else would you like to share with us? That some of the great things that you guys are doing?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Well, so, we challenge ourselves to continue growing and learning. You know, the technology world, the rate of change is increasing. I think we've all heard that, and we see it in our own lives. If you just think about phones, how much phones have changed and continue to change, that's happening in all aspects of technology. So at Cloud Next Level, we are continuing to try to be out in the forefront of some of these changes. You know, Salesforce is always developing or buying new technology, so keeping up with that is a challenge, but we're trying to do it. So for instance, they just launched, I think it was last week, a new product to help contact centers. So we are on the forefront of helping to educate the market about that, as well as robotics processing automation is an emerging field to help automate a lot of manual tasks. So we all know about artificial intelligence, AI, and that's really more of the brain work, whereas RPA is the hand work to do just repetitive manual things. And there are a lot of elements that tie into Salesforce that require just a lot of, data entry and that kind of stuff. So we're helping to educate clients on how to leverage that technology as well. So, we're always pushing ourselves to learn more and do more. And that's what I would encourage everybody else to do. Just try to, absorb as much information as you can, see what strikes a chord with you, and then just follow it. One step after another. Next thing you know, you're in a new career and things are good.
Well, it sounds like in addition to that, you guys have a lot of exciting things going on.
We do, yes.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to having you back here in the future.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, Yvan.